The reason I'm even interested in Scientology is because when I was learning about new religious movements in general, my classmates were really aghast at a lot of the movements and like how can this be religion and blah blah. But I wasn't. I was like, I totally see how this stuff is religion. But then we got to Scientology, and I really struggled a lot with deciding if it's a religion or not. And the reason I've actually delved back into studying it is because I feel like I need to make a decision about it, and I still haven't yet. So I'm on the fence about it. The one important thing to know is that it is considered a religion in the United States. They get tax-exempt status for being a religious and charitable organization. However, it's either not considered a religion in many other countries, or people are like passive about it, so they don't give it religion status, but they don't say specifically it's not a religion. But in that way, you're kind of passively saying that it's not a religion. So like I'm doing a translation project for German right now, and in Germany, they are like super against Scientology. They think it's a fraud and a hoax, and it's definitively not a religion in Germany. But it is considered a religion in the United States, although it was granted its religious status in the 60s, and especially since like Tom Cruise and John Travolta and all these people came out as being Scientologists, its status as a religion has been contested frequently. It still retains its status right now, but people do question it. And the reason they question it is because it's so expensive. Like, you don't have to pay thousands of dollars to be a member of any other religious organization. I mean, you can. You can give as many tithes as you want to the Christian church, but you're not required to gain any sort of status. Well, I think the reason we see so many celebrities in it is because you have to basically have the wealth of a celebrity to participate in it. But it has been studied in the past that maybe it becomes a very exclusive group once you get to the point where you're paying all this money that most people don't have. And so, in general, celebrities like to be part of these exclusive groups. So it has been speculated that might be one of the pulls for them toward this religion. But I think that maybe it's more just that they're the ones that have the money to be in it. So not every celebrity is a Scientologist, but Scientology is so strange and different. It has been in the news that we see celebrities in it, but of course they have the money to be in it.
And do you know like anything why it's such like a controversial religion? Is it because of the money thing, or like the concept of aliens, or how it's founded?
Well, my problem with it is the way that it was founded, because I'm actually a pretty avid science fiction reader, and so as soon as someone told me L. Ron Hubbard created this religion and he was a science fiction writer, I was like, well, isn't that a clue that this isn't a religion? So that's maybe my biggest issue with it, is that it was created by a science fiction writer. And he was actually also a noted liar. I actually am reading a book right now. It's called Inside Scientology by Janet Reitman, and I'm only on the part about L. Ron Hubbard so far. But she notes all these places where he lied very exaggerating to like make himself seem better. Like, he was just like did a regular term of service in the Navy, I think, during a war, or maybe it was the Coast Guard, and like he didn't really do anything, and he left. Like, we know millions of people who are like this. But then he went off and told everyone like these grandiose stories about being a war hero. So, I mean, so you have this religion that's created by this guy who is a science fiction writer and notorious for telling huge, giant lies. So that's kind of my issue with it. And then the other thing, though, I think people do have a problem with like the core beliefs. However, I think that if some of the other things were different, if it wasn't created by a science fiction writer, if it didn't cost thousands of dollars of money to be in it, if there weren't celebrities in it, that maybe the beliefs would either not be as big of a problem, or that would be the problem. Like, if you get rid of the other problems, then people are going to focus on the beliefs. I mean, because you have, like, Heaven's Gate, who was a religious movement that believed in aliens, and actually committed suicide during Halley's Comet, thinking that aliens were going to lift them up. So people thought they were crazy. So, I mean, I don't know if that's because of all the other things, the beliefs aren't at the forefront.
Right.
But if those other things didn't exist, people would still find a problem with their beliefs. I think it depends on who you ask. I think for working class people, they're probably like, those celebrities are crazy and they're doing crazy things. But then there are people who really strive to be like celebrities, who want to live that kind of life. And so people like that would probably be like, oh, well, if Tom Cruise is doing this, maybe I should do this. So I think it can work either way. Some people are already, it depends on if you're for or against celebrities and their lifestyle.
It's kind of a tough question.
Traditionally, the line between science and religion has been magic. So anything, or like the supernatural. So unless you really think there are aliens, I mean, they have this element of supernatural in their beliefs. However, you're right in saying that they don't focus on that. I mean, when you first go to those auditing sessions, they don't sit there and tell you about the aliens and all of this other stuff. That comes much later once you've already been through some of these. Instead, they focus on you and how to help yourself and all that. It's almost like the lady that wrote that book went to one of these and she said it was almost like just being in a psychologist's office and like being able to talk about your feelings and stuff that happens to you. So I think that I don't really understand or buy that there's any science in Scientology, because if you really look at it, because it has supernatural elements, because it wants people to improve themselves and do good in the world, and et cetera, it's not that different from other religions. And maybe their process for therapy are more scientific, but I really don't see the differences between that and being counseled by a pastor, other than maybe that it's focused more on yourself, which has also been theorized as to why celebrities like it so much, because it's such an individualized religion, and they really make you feel good about yourself. I mean, they're really interested in like saying nice things about you, and oh, I just really think that this would benefit you so much in your life, and blah blah blah. And so yeah, it's really focused on yourself rather than a supernatural being. Like their creation story and all that does involve supernatural beings, but it's not the same as having a God that you're focusing on all your attention. You're focusing on yourself. I think it's definitely more the exclusivity.
Right.
Because I don't really know, other than individualism, I don't know what other values you could really attribute to Scientology.
So it's almost a trend. Like,
I really view it as being really trendy. Now, I mean, some of these people who are Scientologists, like Tom Cruise was a Scientologist like way before he told Oprah that he was a Scientologist. So I'm not saying that like he's going to suddenly stop being a Scientologist. However, I think it was like a trendy moment for him to like come out as a Scientologist, and then it became trendy for everyone else to do it. And some people had been doing it for years and years. I mean, this movement came out in like the 50s, but other people just kind of jumped on the bandwagon.